Shalom YouTube. You're listening to the Financially Savvy Chick. I am Tamara. Today's video, I want to talk about why this gas stove ban is happening and what's it really about. Because the fact that you want to eliminate something that's natural, good for the environment, this is my opinion, is questionable. The Biden admin is apparently looking to ban gas stoves, calling them a hidden danger. But while that sounds bad enough, we're going to take a deeper dive to see what it's really about. Talk of banning gas stoves and unregulated indoor air quality could be a Trojan horse designed to get even more smart technology, monitoring technology to your home. I ran across an article today where robot testers, the iRobot testers, and something else it said that it had intimate photographs of these people on the internet. And I'm like, wait a second, an iRobot, the robot is supposed to vacuum your home for you? And then I remember seeing the commercial where everybody in that's working on behind the scenes of the robot were telling the other employee, I guess, the member, to steer the robot to the right to avoid hitting something. And I was like, what if they actually were live monitoring these smart robots or smart appliances that people are putting in their home? It's just another way to invade your privacy, if you ask me. And I'm just not all for that. So, according to Alexandria Cortez, a new scientist, and a million other outlets and pundits who started talking about it in the last 2 days. Earlier this week, they said that they made a public comment on the dangers of gas stoves sometime this winter. Why is it that it's an issue for the winter? Okay, so if you have a gas stove, right, you have the ability to heat your home, cook food, and so forth, right, using very little electricity. Keyword, okay? And so, like wood burning stoves, California wants to ban wood burning stoves. If that's allowing individuals to heat their home without having to use electricity, which allows them to heat their home for free, right, which is kind of a financial benefit, why would that be an issue? So they're saying this article claims that the emissions from using gas stoves are linked to illness, cardiovascular problems, cancer, and other health conditions. And they're saying that more than 12% of current childhood asthma cases are linked to gas stove use, according to peer-reviewed research published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health last month. Now would be a good time to talk about the phrase linked to. It's always a good one to look out for in any mainstream publication, because journalists love it because it implies causation without stating it. Consider 100% of serial killers have been linked to the ingestion of water and the wearing of shoes. If this manipulative use of language were not evidence enough of an agenda, the rather premature development of the race card proves it. Senator Cory Booker, Democrat of New Jersey, and Representative Don Beyer, Democrat, Virginia, wrote a letter to the agency last month urging the commission to address the issue and calling the harmful emissions a cumulative burden on Black, Latino, and low-income households. I don't know about you, but how many Black people in low-income households do you know use gas cooking stoves or wood-burning stoves? I mean, hey, I might be wrong here. I don't know that a low-income person would even think to use a gas. You know what? I don't even want to go that route because I'm not stereotyping people. But I know growing up, I lived in a low-income household, and we didn't have no a gas stove. We had a little electric cheap stove, okay? We didn't, and I rarely, and I went to friends' house growing up, I rarely saw gas stoves in the hood, okay? I'm just put it out there. I don't care. Considering that, according to Bluebird, some 40% of U.S. homes use gas stoves to cook, and outright ban will be impractical to the point of madness. You can't criminalize 40% of the country. It would be almost enforceable. Perhaps they might try a phasing out as they plan for patrol cars in California, but most likely of all is that this was never really about banning stoves in the first place. So what's it really about? Okay. What we are seeing here looks to be our classic bait and switch, having established a problem. The powers that be suggest a solution. The dark powers that be suggest a solution they have no intention of ever carrying out. When this measure is inevitable, rejected by the public, the government will then proceed to suggest or pay an NGO to suggest to them a compromise measure. The compromise is no compromise at all, of course, but actually what they wanted to do from the beginning. Nevertheless, the whole process is sold in the media as a victory for whichever party happens to be in opposition and cited as evidence that the system works. Tellingly, as I'm telling you this, Biden has already ruled out to ban he ruled out a ban due to backlash. A Vox were already using the compromise a lot in an article they published yesterday. However, with that, compromise would be in the case isn't clear at first. You have to do a little digging. One clue is present in the National Review article. The Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers argues that cooking produces harmful emissions regardless of the kind of stove it uses. Right. So you can use electric, gas, a wood cook stove. Ventilation is really where this discussion should be, rather than banning one particular type of technology. Banning one type of a cooking appliance is not going to address the concerns about overall indoor air quality. We may need some behavior change. We may need people to turn on their hoods when cooking. You see, the whole thing about banning this gas stove really boils down to money. The home, and it's not even just money, it's getting into your home and invading your privacy. You got all this smart technology, Alexa, which works for the government. You have all these technology that they want to put in your home, which, I mean, they literally can see you walking around naked, see your children walking around, seeing how you eat when you sleep, what time you get up, what time you go to bed. That's none of their business. Ventilation is where this discussion should be. After all, cooking produces harmful emissions regardless of the kind of stove, and a ban wouldn't address the concern overall indoor air quality, which is unregulated. Why do you need to regulate somebody's home and how they live inside of it? You are not God. You are not Yahweh. You are not the creator. You can't tell people what to do. You can make a suggestion and you can ask, but you can't tell people what to do. We have free will. The impact of gas cooking stove on children can be substantially because the indoor air is unregulated. This is what they want to use. It's not about gas stoves, and it's not about asthma. It's about indoor air pollution, and more importantly, how they plan on regulating it. And one of those startling coincidences, we've all got so used to witnessing in modern geopolitics, just as the U.S. is talking about indoor air quality because of gas stoves. Other countries around the world are doing the same thing for totally different reasons. Singapore is considering new regulations on indoor air quality too, but because of formaldehyde. Okay. Last month, the conversation was running articles claiming indoor air pollution kills, while Sir Chris Whitty, the UK's chief medical officer, was demanding action on indoor air pollution. 2 days ago, the Tyree, an independent Canadian magazine, which received some funding from Canadian government, ran an opt headline, "We need a revolution in clean indoor air." I'm telling you guys, if y'all not seeing what's going on and what they are pushing here, this agenda to get into your homes, to invade your privacy, take away your privacy, take away your rights. And if you give into this, I don't know what to tell you. Earlier today, Chinese tech giant Xiaomi issued a media release about their new smart air monitoring technology. Why do you need air monitoring technology? You can miss me with this. A recent report expects the global air monitoring technology market to swell to nearly $6 billion in the next 3 years. $6 billion in 3 years, you guys. Where do you think they're going to get this money from? Inflation. Where does this lead us? Well, if I had to guess, I would suggest some new smart technology is coming that will monitor air quality and indoor CO2 emissions, like smart electricity and smart water meters. But for your air, does that make any sense? Interestingly, the World Economic Forum agrees because they have an article that they published back in July, headline, "Indoor Air Pollution, What Causes It and How to Tackle It." Again, this is part of that 2030 plan of you will own nothing and be happy and you will have no privacy. As part of backing down from the stove ban, they will introduce a new bill which sees smart air monitors become a mandatory in all new building houses, hotels, and rented accommodations. So if you go to a hotel, you stay in at Airbnbs, of course these are businesses and the government can pretty much regulate your business and tell you what to do and how to run it, which they shouldn't be able to. But this is where this is going. If your indoor air isn't clean enough, if you use your stove too much, burn too many scented candles, or emit too much C2O, expect to get penalized in some fashion until you learn how to be more responsible. Of course, they're not going to follow this. More smart technology, more monitoring, and ultimately more control. That's what this boils down to. So while it's possible that gas stove ban talk will resolve itself into the clinch new tax or fines or some other petty scheme for bilking the many out of their wages, the signs are certainly there. It might be something more sinister. Meanwhile, expect to keep your seeing reports on gas stoves demanding climate change. That's what they're going to use it or hide it under. That's going to be the guise under climate change, about poor indoor air quality and making COVID worse. The usual bought and paid for columns that support every new normal narrative. Take this as a warning and do not comply. I hope you felt this video was helpful, informative, and I ask that you hit the like button to help the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to check out our website, financiallysavvychick.com, and visit our blog section. Until next time, shalom.